Hello everyone and welcome back. So today we're going to get started with week 1 of the running journey. So today in this video I'm going to cover a few things. I'm going to actually catch you up from what happened between week 1 all the way up to week 3. I just wanted to kind of condense it a little bit so you're not watching a million videos basically. So I'm going to be covering what happened between week 1 to 3 and how the progression has gone and what I was actually experiencing. I will go into a little bit of detail on what app I was using and also what I tried out for books and for guidance. What was my mental game and preparation look like, and I will also link below some of the resources that I have used that I think is going to be really useful and helpful for you in your own wellness journey and in your own running journey if you decide to go and take that on as your next sport. So if you're interested in learning all about how everything went between week 1 and 3, then just keep on watching and let's go. So when I first got started, I thought that, well, first of all, I thought that I was crazy for even taking this journey on because I absolutely hated running. And that was the last thing that I was totally interested in when it comes to sports and fitness. But once I kind of got over myself, I realized that the reason why this was such a scary leap for me is because of lack of information, because I never really took the time to really honor this like it's something that I would need to prepare for, and it's something that I need to learn about. I had the assumption, like many people that I have talked to since then, when they tell me that they assume that you just put on your shoes and then off you go out the door and just start running. And that is the furthest thing from the truth, because once I realized how difficult the longer runs are going to be, I started doing some research and I started to have a better understanding of exactly how many weeks it will take and how many weeks it will take for my body to actually get used to the load. And then once I understood that, then this has become a little bit easier for me to manage when it comes to motivation and when it comes to like showing up for actual runs. I actually found that once I made the commitment and I had more information available to me, it was a lot easier for me to show up for each specific run on the specific days that I set in my calendar. So the very first thing that I did before I went on any runs at all at the very beginning is I started researching like a crazy person. I waited about a day or so, and the more I kind of thought about it, the more I saw that fear was completely just taking over my body. And I started telling myself all sorts of crazy things like, who am I to do this? And why is this so important to you? And, it makes no difference. And you're not going to get through any of these races anyway. So why try? So I allowed a lot of that to come in. And I kind of sat with it a little bit. And then after that, I sort of asked, how much truth does a lot of these beliefs hold? And when I realized that it's not holding too much truth, and really I was just lacking information, I started doing the research. So I found that actually the more, like the deeper that I went into my research, the more I realized that everything that I've done leading up to this point, with my experience with massage therapy as well as experience within the yoga community and my yoga practices, all of that had been leading me up to excelling and doing well within running. And that's another thing too that I think that if you're interested, I can do like a whole separate technical video on this of how to kind of take a look at your foot and to see where the wear and tear is happening on the bottom of your foot. You can kind of look at the calluses, and also because then that gives you a lot of feedback and a lot of information of how you're walking and how your foot is tracking and where the muscle imbalances lie. So from the running perspective, you need to know that information, because then that will allow you to work with your own body of its strengths and also its weaknesses. So ideally you want to kind of build a workout routine and a workout plan that sort of supports you in excelling you in what you're already excellent at, and then help you gain more momentum or help you get better on the areas that you're a little bit weaker. Proper shoes. I had a feeling that my shoes aren't the greatest, but I didn't really understand why they aren't the greatest. I thought that, I always bought really great shoes and they were really comfortable until I went into the running room and I asked one of the associates to actually get me fitted for shoes. Now, I will link below the type of shoes that I got, but here's how the whole process went for us. So we went into the store, we looked at a couple of different shoes, and then I talked to the sales associate and I told him that I'm just a beginner and I'm getting started with running, so hopefully he can help me. And he was really great. So he asked me to just take my shoes off and just start walking back and forth in the store. And the whole premise was he wanted to sort of see my gait. He wanted to see the way that I'm walking, where my foot lands, where my heel lands on the ground, and if there's any deviation with my hips and with my pelvis. And so once, like, he sort of watched me for a few minutes, and then after that, we moved on to the squat assessment. So you may or may not have had a squat assessment. I was very fortunate enough to learn about like the importance of a squat assessment in my massage therapy school. Thank you, Dr. Alex. So we basically covered the squat assessment itself. It's exactly what it sounds like. You get into position and you do a few squats. But what's more important is, what is that telling you? What information are you gaining as a person doing the assessment? What is this showing you? And basically you're looking for weaknesses or you're looking for inconsistencies when it comes to the mechanics of your entire body. So if I'm looking at your pelvis, your knee and your ankle and the muscles, and also your core. So I would actually start with the core, pelvis, sacrum, your quads and your calf, and like all three of these joints, so your ankle, your knee and your pelvis, all three of them need to work in synchrony in order for you to perform a proper squat. So most of you that are athletic, you would know this, but I don't think a lot of you out there understand the importance of it. So I kind of wanted to touch on this, but basically he was just looking at my squats and he was looking at deviations when it comes to my adductor muscles, if my knee buckles or if there's any weakness in my calf. And because for me, everything was nice and consistent, I received a shoe that was a little bit wider at the top, and overall the arch support and the foot support was really evenly distributed. So from my perspective, I tried on the shoes, I walked around in it, I felt like I was walking on a cloud. I'm like, sold. That was basically it. I tried on about 3 different shoes, all with the same arch support. And that's another thing too, that I think that if you're interested, I can do like a whole separate technical video on this, of how to kind of take a look at your foot and to see where the wear and tear is happening on the bottom of your foot. You can kind of look at the calluses, and also because then that gives you a lot of feedback and a lot of information of how you're walking and how your foot is tracking and where the muscle imbalances lie. So from the running perspective, you need to know that information, because then that will allow you to work with your own body of its strengths and also its weaknesses. So ideally you want to kind of build a workout routine and a workout plan that sort of supports you in excelling you in what you're already excellent at, and then help you gain more momentum or help you get better on the areas that you're a little bit weaker. That's it about squat assessment. That's all I wanted to tell you about it. But definitely, if you're starting, please get fitted for proper shoes. Make sure that they do at least a walking, like at least a gait assessment. And if they're doing a squat assessment, thank them for it. They know what they're doing. They are basically looking at the muscles that you have on your legs and how, like, where their weaknesses and where the strengths are, and then they can provide you with the proper shoes that will help you get more support. I received a shoe that was a little bit wider at the top, and overall the arch support and the foot support was really evenly distributed. So from my perspective, I tried on the shoes, I walked around in it, I felt like I was walking on a cloud. I'm like, sold.
that was basically it.
So in week 1, I started with running about 90 seconds, which I thought was like, woo, it was excellent. So we started running for 90 seconds and then we were supposed to walk for 90 seconds. So week 1 was all about run for about 60 seconds or 90 seconds and then walk for 60 or 90 seconds. So I wanted to really test exactly where I'm at. And so I started with running for 60 seconds. So I ran for a minute and then I started running for a minute and a half. And then I would walk maybe about 20 to 30 seconds. So I didn't really want to take the full 90 seconds for me to actually walk, because I'm like, you know what, I can do this. This is totally fine. I'm taking my time. I'm going with my own pace, so it's totally cool. And that worked out. So we did on week 1, we did 2 separate runs. Actually, all the way up from week 1 to week 6, we were running twice a week consistently. So that was week 1, and then week 2 we moved into 90-second run and 90-second walk, and I still found that was pretty easy. So I did 2 runs like that, and then I just kind of kept it the way that it is. And then on week 3 was you run for 90 seconds and then your next set you're running for 3 minutes. So that's sort of when I started to see the jump, and I also started to see that we are building more endurance, because otherwise, like, thank God that we did, because otherwise I probably would have just kind of got bored, and I'm like, I don't really feel like doing this. Now, a couple of the tools that I wanted to touch on. When it comes to tools, I was taught that to use a lot of the self-care tools that are available to you. So not only being a practitioner, and I advocate that on a regular basis, to just use the proper health and wellness tools that are at your resources, and like a lot of the self-care tools, I was basically using and abusing all of it listed here. I will list them down in the description as well, in case you're interested or you have no idea what I'm talking about. But these are some of the tools that I was using regularly. I was using an app called Couch to 5K, so C25K. I will probably have that just listed here on the side so you can take a look. So here's what I did use that came in super handy. So in my hand, I'm holding the little yoga tuna balls. These guys were great. I actually prefer these little guys over the larger ones. I think I still have the bigger size somewhere. Don't ask me where. I'm not going to hunt it down because I never use it. But these guys are great. I would put them right at the dimples of my low back, and I would roll out my glutes. I would also use these to roll out my hamstrings and my IT band. I have like the full picture description and like guide that I can link below for you to take a look. You don't notice how tight your calves are, and you don't notice how tight your low back is, and especially your glutes, until you start rolling these guys out. So this was excellent. Deep Blue rub from doTERRA. It's sort of like an A535 rub, and I have used A535, not really a fan of it. But with this guy, what I really loved about this is that once you put it on, well, first of all, like a little bit goes a long way, so you don't need a ton. And you put just like a thin layer on, you rub it in, you can actually massage it in so that it goes deeper into the tissue. And the thing that I loved about it, especially in the evening, is that once I massaged it into my legs, it had like a warming sensation, and then it moved into a really cooling sensation. So it was excellent. Like a lot of times it just really saved my legs when it comes to just having muscle soreness and muscle aches, because the first few weeks I did feel it quite a bit, and I noticed it the next day when I would go up and down the stairs in my clinic. It was just not it was definitely not happening. So a foam roller was great, especially when I wanted to really just roll through glutes, when I wasn't looking for something specific, but I wanted something more of a general rollout. After a longer run, I would always lay down and I would roll out the glutes and I would roll out my hamstrings and I would adjust the pressure. So, and I know, like, I noticed the difference, you guys. Like, that was my big thing, that I wasn't just doing these things because somebody told me to do them. I actually did these things because they made a difference. And last but not least, and most of you will probably not agree with this, I thought that it was great. When I was researching what are the main things that will make a big difference besides weight training, what are some of the workouts that would complement your running journey? For me, it was yoga. And it wasn't even, and I mean, if you ask me what is my favorite type of yoga, it's usually hot yoga. And I'm like, let's go. They're going to rip me apart and it's going to be great. No, I actually started to go to just regular yoga classes, and at my gym, they use a lot of different props. So we were using a bolster that was sort of like, it was just like a thicker pillow, a thicker rectangular pillow that you can use, and it provides such beautiful support. And we were also using yoga blocks, so you can kind of create sort of like a pillow under your head, and then there was another block that you can put right by basically mid back, so in the thoracic area, and then you put that bolster over it. You lay down and it allows your entire chest and your entire diaphragm to just completely open up in such a supported way. So when I went to the classes, it wasn't necessarily for me to get like a really hardcore workout in. It was more just to sort of offset a lot of the stresses that I put on my body, a few days before. And excellent for, hip flexor stretches, calf stretches, just generally just having that gentle movement, and bringing some fluidity back into the areas that felt really stuck. That practice has become basically a must have for me every single week. So, and the other thing that I noticed with the yoga practice is that afterwards, if I decide to go for a run, I still have enough energy. So I could probably go for a run either before or after, and it's totally cool. It might be different for you, but that's how it was for me. Food is such a big deal. It really is. I noticed within the first 3 weeks, so I started kind of playing around and experimenting what works, what doesn't work. We usually have a blended coffee first thing in the morning, which is still great. It's still true for us. I still enjoy that. We did switch out like dairy. Finally, we we switched out dairy to coconut milk and coconut creamer. Oh my gosh! If you haven't tried it, it's a must. You just go right now. Like, pause this video, go and get yourself a creamer, make yourself the coffee, come back and enjoy this video. All right. So it was so good. Between that, the coconut creamer and the coconut oil blended, it's like heaven. And it actually gave me a nice clean energy to go with. And I would basically just have a smoothie. I would make sure that I have a protein smoothie beforehand. I couldn't do any of the juice based stuff going on because honestly, I needed the energy. And one thing that I learned really early on is to not have a run, not have a workout, do not enter the gym hungry and tired. Maybe tired, but mentally tired, but never enter the gym when you're either sore and if you're hungry. Girl, if you're hungry, go and eat something, or at least drink something, which is basically like allow it to fill you up at least for the time being so that you can get your work in. So the one morning I made that epic mistake of actually eating breakfast, which I never do. Like, I should know better, but I didn't. Whatever, we dealt with it. So my husband was so sweet. He made breakfast for me. I had some eggs, and then about an hour later, I went for a run. And good God, it was one of the hardest runs I've done, and it had nothing to do with intensity or with the weather or how long I waited. It was just, honestly, it was just a simple fact that I didn't bother drinking my smoothie, and I ate, and it was just not clean energy. So if you thrive on liquid, just bombard it with your superfoods and with your clean energy. You will thank me and you will thank yourself after. Trust me, it's so good. Okay. This is mainly, and then like the other big thing was electrolytes that I really wanted to cover. I found that yes, I needed to hydrate all throughout the day and blah blah, but honestly, like when I didn't replace my electrolytes, I paid for it. Like I thankfully I didn't why am I so itchy? Okay, I didn't really have any issues with like muscle spasms or anything like that. But actually, speaking of which, with muscle spasms, I would like to, and this is not a shameless plug here, but I'm just telling you my own opinion on this. If you are active, get a massage and at least see a healthcare practitioner, because that's exactly what we do. So in between all of these trainings, all from the very beginning, from week 1 all the way up to about week 6, which is where we're at right now, I was going for regular massages, and basically every time I would see my massage therapist, I would ask her to use cupping and just break up the fascia and just work through the tissue that really needed working. And it wasn't like, her approach isn't more is better, and neither is mine. Like, my approach is definitely not the more is better approach, but it just makes such a big difference when it comes to muscle recovery, when it comes to allowing you to perform better. And I don't think that a lot of people are aware, especially that when you're increasing the stress and the load that you place on your body, then you will also need to increase, your self-care game. So whether that means you need to get deeper into the focus with your meditation practice, with your mindfulness practice, and with your yoga practice, or you're going to have to get deeper into like your massage therapy, your essential oils, your Epsom salt bath, your hydration. Like, I want you to kind of look at this like a dance where you are kind of using the tools that you need at that given time. So for me, like, it wasn't even a question for me to not go and get a massage. Okay, enough ramble. This is mainly all I wanted to cover from week 1 to 3. I hope that you found it helpful. And if you haven't seen my welcome video where I kind of go into why I started this journey, why it was important to me, I will link it in one of the cards right around here if I can. If I can't, I'll just link it below, so you can always find most of these links down in the description. And as always, I wanted to tell you how much I appreciate your love and support, and thank you so much for watching. If you wanted to learn more about what I do and where you can learn more about the running journey, I am also writing about it in on my blog at pathtowellness.co. I will have, again, like the link kind of come up here so you can take a look. And don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe, and make sure that you are actually on the updated list so that you can get all the updates whenever I release a new video, because I very much would love for all of us to come together as a community so that we can all learn and share our experiences when it comes to running, when it comes to, our wellness journey, because we're each at such a different stage. And I think that if we come together and we share our wisdom, we all benefit. So this is exactly why I created this video series for all of you, so that you can kind of witness my own way of showing up and serving all of you. So I hope that you enjoyed that, and I will see you at the next video.
And just because not a ton happened, so not that it didn't happen, you know what I mean. Trust me, I've said it many times. That it was actually a lot easier. Stop saying actually. It sounds stupid, but it's an actual. Close the door. This door is always an issue for you. What's going on? Get it together.